Good morning, parents. So, even though I know a lot of you did not listen to the video on Friday, because I can see how many people listen, that's perfectly fine. I wanted to give you a verbal communication for our weekly email. I'm sending it out with this video. I'm just going to read directly through it so that if you want to listen to it instead of read it, you can, but then you have the transcript in front of you. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever day it is, or whatever time of the day it is that you're listening. As promised, I'm sending out the Monday checklist. I'm also going to include it with Tuesdays. So, I'm going to try sending out 2 days at a time, one checklist, so that students can work on that one checklist for 2 days to see if that helps do a little less work, because some of you feel that they're doing too much. So, in that checklist, you will find your math groups. There are 2 groups, and you will have your social studies presentation groups. Teachers are good at last-minute accommodations because during the day in school, usually there are plenty of things to come up, whether it's behavior or a last-minute school-wide program, or something happened at recess or extra recess, anything like that. So while I included our weekly schedule, it is possible that it might change. Now, online, our virtual classroom has not changed much. The schedule usually doesn't change. I'm just putting that out there, that even though you will look at the schedule, it is possible it will change. I will try hard for it not to. All right, there have been a few studies done about children, stress, and online learning. If your child, not you, if your child is stressed about being on camera and joining Google and Zoom meetings, then please continue to do the class that you have been doing. Even though I'm adding online classes, you are not required to make your child join. Okay, so continue your class as is. There are several of you who do the class at your own time and the time that's most convenient for you and your child. Perfectly fine. Continue as is. Our online checklist, that's not changing. It will look the same. You should have no problems continuing that. Your child will not be held accountable for not joining our Google Classroom, but they will be held accountable for their work. So if I don't see them online, that is fine. However, I do want to continue to receive their work, and pretty much all of you have been doing that. You send me their work. If I don't see them online, I still get emails from you daily, and that is awesome. So thank you. Keep it up. For the 5 to 6 families that ask for more classroom face-to-face, we'll be doing that starting tomorrow. I'm going to remind you that even though kindergarten classes have specific lessons on Zoom, 2nd grade will have the same time on Google or Zoom, but also 2nd grade requires more independent work. So while kindergartners might not be asking you so many questions because they are writing sentences with their teacher and maybe using their new sight words, 2nd grade writes paragraphs, and our 2nd graders are challenged to think on their own, which is good, which we want. From 8 to 8:45, I will be teaching language arts. Reading will usually come after, and that will be on their independent time. Reading and maybe extra journal writing. During this time, they will usually begin and finish their work for the 45 minutes, just like in school when we have 45 minutes of language arts, then 45 minutes with small group reading, with extra writing, and extra assignments that come up. I will be there to answer questions from 8 to 8:45 when they begin their work. They do not have to do the writing assignments that I give after our virtual conference. If they want to wait and continue it the next day with me, that is perfectly fine. The reason at-home lessons can usually advance children more than in-person classes is because a lot of children move through online very quickly. They're usually able to read and just do their work and move faster than in person. In school, this is important. In school, I usually have to repeat directions anywhere from 4 to 6 times for each lesson. This is why it takes a long time in 2nd grade to get through different lessons. It's completely developmentally normal for your children to ask so many questions. I know it can be a pain, especially if you're trying to do your own work, but either encourage your children to ask me when I'm online for 45 to 60 minutes 3 times a day, or even when I'm not online. Most of you know that I've been answering calls throughout the whole day and sending emails and setting up FaceTime appointments with anybody who needs it. I've been available pretty much 12 hours a day, and I shouldn't be, but I have been. At school, I ask your children special questions to help guide them to do it independently. If you are one of those parents who is a little frustrated that your child keeps asking you questions, I want you to encourage them to think on their own. That's a skill that they need to learn regardless of being in 2nd grade or being in 6th grade or going to college. At school, I ask them, did you read the directions? What do the directions say? What do you think that means? How do you think you need to answer? Well, try that and ask Mrs. Sherman if that's what she wants you to do. Those kinds of questions will help encourage your child to not ask you so many questions, but to think for themselves and figure out a solution. I understand that most of you are not teachers, nor did you ever want to be teachers, but we are parents, and we do have to help them through this challenging time, and nobody signed up to be stuck in quarantine. So remain patient. If your child sees you say, forget it, I'm just so frustrated, and give up, remember that that's what your child is learning to do when things get challenging. My guess is that in your job, you would never do that. You would never say, I can't figure it out, forget it, I won't do it. You would come up with some kind of solution. We are trying to teach our 2nd graders to think like that, to problem solve. So please remain patient. When you get frustrated, go ahead, give me a call. Like the majority of you did. You called me and I walked you through the solution and we figured it out. And it actually only took 30 seconds maybe 1 minute. It was simple. I encourage you to talk to me when I call at the beginning of the week, so that when I'm calling again on Friday, you're not telling me that the whole week you didn't understand something. So 8 to 8:45, we have language arts. Then you'll have reading, then Judaic studies. Then 11 to 11:30, it's group 1 for math. 11:30 to 12 o'clock, it's group 2 for math. If your child, again, does not want to be on math, we are posting all the answers online, just like we've been doing. They do not have to join for math lessons. But the ones who do want to join, great. We can't wait to see them. I'm also doing our social studies or science, depending on what unit we're on, from 12 to 12:45. So, if you have any questions, please ask. I hope that this answers any questions, and I hope that this will go smoothly. Take cues from your child. Your child might have a day where they cannot concentrate. If that's the case, allow them, encourage them to take a little bit of extra time in the morning to go to recess, to go outside, to go for a walk, to change up their scenery. Let them learn how their body is feeling and when it's the best time for them to work. That's a very important lesson, and that again is something that will help them for many years to come. I hope that you watch this video. I know it's pretty long, Maybe you can have it on in the background while you're cooking. But enjoy, ask me questions, and I will see your kids on the computer tomorrow at 8 a.m.